NSFW. Cashiers of Reddit. What products make you silently judge the person who buys them? Story 1. Not a cashier, but I learned the other day that apparently you get judged for buying alcohol at 7 a.m. The cashier was pretty vocal about it, and if I wasn't so non-confrontational, I would have told the manager. She flat out said something along the lines of, "It's a little too early for boozing up, don't you think?" 1. None of your business if I'm drinking early in the morning. 2. It was on sale during a routine trip to get milk and such. Am I supposed to just leave it and come back after 5 p.m. to buy my alcohol? However, when I got home, I realized how my entire purchase looked. I got milk, chocolate milk, Lunchables, also on sale, and a strawberry daiquiri. She probably thought I had kids or something, so I understand her concern. Kind of. She didn't have to say anything, though. It really struck a nerve. Story 2. Not a cashier either, but when my friend would buy Depends, you could tell the cashier and everyone in line would judge him hard. He was a 23-year-old college kid who still peed the bed when he drank. He tried his best, man. He didn't wear them to parties. He tried to remember to put them on when he drunkenly got home. This led to him putting them back multiple times. This effectively kept his piss out of his diaper and in his bed. Once, he forgot to put them on and brought a girl home. Let's just say he convinced her that he drunkenly showered in the middle of the night. Her ride home must have been mortified. He's not my friend anymore. That's a good enough reason to just not get drunk. Story 3. While being a cashier, I questioned why someone would subject themselves to itchy fabrics. As a teenager, I was judged for buying condoms that were for a reason other than sex. The only time I can remember having a thought about a customer was when they bought our camouflage print lingerie with pink edging. I honestly could care less if they wanted to buy it, even though I thought it was hideous, but while folding it, I couldn't get over how itchy the fabric was. I was curious about why someone would subject themselves to that. My shopping habits were judged by a cashier when I was 14. My music teacher sent me to the store for unlubricated condoms. They are a way of keeping actors sweat from damaging body microphones. It was a small town and the cashier knew me. She was horrified about what I was buying, and before I could explain, she insisted on calling my mother to let her know I was having sex. I then got to explain, in a very loud voice, I was a virgin and that they were for microphones. Even if I had been buying them for sex, I would think the smarter move on her part would be to sell them to me. If teenagers have decided to have sex, then they're going to do it, regardless of how adults feel. Public shaming and denying them protection is not going to stop sex, but can lead to other consequences. Story 4. This isn't exactly the same thing, but I used to work at AutoZone. One day, a customer came in and asked if there were any deals on our strongest antifreeze. I asked him if he meant the lowest temperature rating, and he said no, the one with the most ethylene glycol. I was really confused and asked him what he needed it for, and he told me it was because his neighbor's kids just got kittens and they were trespassing on his property. I excused myself and went back to my boss and the store manager and told him, and he told me I had to make the sale. I had to sell him 4 gallons of antifreeze to kill some defenseless kittens and absolutely crush his neighbor's kids. I try to never say I hate anybody and I never wish harm on anybody, but yeah. Story 5. I got judged by a cashier once. I was working in a welding and fabrication facility at the time as a repair guy. Since I wasn't one of the welders, I would often get tasked with whatever needed doing. The particular job at the time required ultrasonic testing of bends made in some tubing to ensure proper wall thickness. We had 1 tube of ultrasound gel. Sure enough, the tube got knocked off the table and run over by a forklift. The job was a very time-critical one and we needed to do the ultrasounds now. A good substitute for the ultrasonic gel is KY jelly. I grabbed a fistful of petty cash and rushed over to a nearby grocery store and grabbed every tube of KY jelly they had. I then ran up to the cashier, who then rang up tube after tube after tube. I was in such a rush that I hadn't really thought about the normal use of KY. As she was looking at me oddly and silently ringing up my purchase, I said something like, "It has been crazy at work today." The look on her face was priceless. Halfway out of the parking lot, I realized what happened. We all had a good laugh about it at work, and I had the name KY for a few days. Story 6. I'm a clerk at a convenience store. Not something I judge harshly for, just something I've noticed, and I think it's funny. Teenagers buying condoms. Most adults buying condoms just come in, grab the condoms, pay for them, and leave. Most people are having sex, and adults realize that no one cares. Teenagers buying condoms are super awkward about it, though. Typical scenario: a couple comes in, they look like they're about 15 or 16. The girl hangs out by the front door, looking around awkwardly or just staring at her phone. The boy will walk up and down the candy aisle, candy on one side, health and beauty stuff on the opposite side, pretending to look at candy but keep looking at the condoms to try to see what selection is without looking like he's looking at the condoms. Bonus awkwardness if he texts his girlfriend to ask her opinion while she's standing right in front of me waiting. He'll then grab the absolute cheapest piece of candy he can find and a box of Trojan Fire and ice every time. The way the kid wants to look is, I dragged my girlfriend down because I absolutely needed a single lemon head right this second, but I suppose I'll grab some condoms while I'm here. Then after one of them pays, they'll quickly walk away with their heads huddled together, acting like they just got away with something. I always want to tell them that they don't have to treat it like something shady or dirty and that no one gives a shit. But I'm happy they're using protection, and I worry that even mentioning it would embarrass them enough to risk not coming in next time. Story 7. People who buy the as seen on TV snake oil stuff. Some of that stuff is useful, neck pillows, snuggies, etc. But people who buy those packets of acai berries or the hand job workout shake weight are fools who were just parted with their money. Also had a woman who came in and got some ED, erectile dysfunction treatment meds. Not judging her, but her partner needs to own up to it even if he has a floppy disk. You're still getting some. Who cares if you need a little pharmaceutical help to get the blood flowing in the right direction? Had a guy try to return an opened ink cartridge, not in the box or anything, just carrying an open ink cartridge trying to return it because it didn't fit in his printer. Or that was his story. More likely he was a who stole the cartridge, but seriously, dude, even if I believed you, I wouldn't take a leaking ink cartridge back. Story 8. I was subject to a cashier's judgment last night. Every week for the past 3 weeks, I've grabbed 2 packages of pre-made cookie dough. Pretty decent, and it's 2 for $3, 20-ish cookies a pop. We do a lot of United Way and Humane Society fundraising, and I grab the cookie dough and pop them in the oven. Easy peasy. It just so happens I got the same cashier each time, a short, young brunette. I get off work at 9 p.m. every night, and the store is directly on the way home. Last night, I grabbed the 2 packages of dough for the bake sale, my Mountain Dew, and some shredded cheese for my dinner that night. Same cashier girl. This was the 3rd week in a row I'd bought these, so I unloaded my basket, set my stuff on the belt, and wait for her to process the items. As I'm waiting, she scans the cookie dough, stops, gives me a very weird, almost smug, pitiful look, and says, "How is it that you never have enough cookies?" My face felt like it was on fire, and I managed to say that we've had a lot of charity bake sales lately, and I like helping. Soft spot for the Humane Society. She just looks down and turns red as well, while the guy who was tossing my stuff into a bag starts laughing at her and says, "This is why the boss said to keep your mouth shut." This isn't a Walmart or a Kmart, it's a locally owned business. I still beat red because I'm a fat guy, so it probably looked pretty bad from an outsider's point of view. The bagger guy, probably around my age, a big black guy I've had friendly conversations with when he's come into my workplace, public library, slaps me lightly on the back as I grab my stuff and tells me not to worry about what she said. It definitely won't happen again, and said he admired my willpower of just not eating the cookie dough straight up because that's what he would do. The cashier girl never looked up, but her cheeks were still red. I wonder if she'll be there next week. Story 9. As a cashier at Victoria's Secret, I judge people the most who haven't made up their minds about what the fuck they want by the time they get to the register. Nothing annoys me more than a customer who walks up with a full shopping bag and starts pulling items out one by one and scrutinizing them like they're seeing them for the first time. Then they hand me 2 or 3 things and say, "Scan those first and let me see how much it is," obviously having no intention to buy even half the shit they dragged up to the register. The next 15 minutes quickly erode into an exciting game of how many more lip glosses can I add on before maxing out my credit card and which of these 500 different coupons are still usable. All the while, the line just builds and builds behind them until when they finally make up their minds and finish checking out, I'm left facing an angry mob. I'm not going to judge you for buying 15 V-strings that are 3 sizes too small for you, and I'm not going to judge you for buying 8 packs of silicone bra stuffers because you have 0 titties. But if you make me stand there while you try to decide what the you're buying, there is a 100% chance there might be an error with one of your coupons, and you're sure as hell not getting any free samples. Story 10. This is complicated, so I'll do it in parts. 1. The family-run business I have worked for 10 years used to, for over 20 years, deliver Monday to Friday to the local jail in town, as well as fire stations, government buildings, airport, etc. 2. This included candy, bold soups, shoes, underwear, and many other assorted products, even Walkman radios up through 2010. 3. We are the only store in our state, Kansas, to carry these specific products. And 4. If any customer buys a combination of any two of the following, I can rightfully assume they have spent time in the city jail. Keef coffee, freeze-dried coffee flakes, mix these in a coffee creamer cup and you get a Jailhouse Energy Mocha Shake Shot. Bowl microwavable ramen, Cali vegetable is the dead giveaway and makes it an item tell-all. Also, as an addendum, if you buy more than 2 of these, for example, a whole case from the shelf, I know, Cheetos, to be put in the ramen as a taste enhancer, or beef sticks, cheap jerky substitutes used to put some protein powder in these bowls of ramen. Or if you ever joke about Kool-Aid when buying Jolly Ranchers, they use classic Jolly Ranchers to make Jailhouse Kool-Aid by letting them dissolve into the water. We also had to stop selling the cinnamon-flavored Jolly Ranchers to the jail because some smart asshole thought of dissolving those into the water, getting it in their mouth, and spraying it at guards like pepper spray. Story 11. I have a great story about this from my father. His Doberman developed severe fecal compaction. He didn't have a lot of money, so he talked to a vet over the phone but could not afford to buy the products he needed to treat the animal from him. The vet, being a very nice guy, told him what to get from the local drugstore to treat the condition. Well, my father loves his dog, so right out the door he went to buy the products. First among them were Fleet enemas. He had no idea where to look, so he asked a cashier where they were. I figured that in itself was not too unusual. The thing is, he needed to get 8 of them, along with hemorrhoid cream and some laxatives. Next thing you know, there he was, standing at the register in front of that very same cashier with 8 Fleet enemas, a large tube of hemorrhoid cream, and a box of laxatives. I figured the cashier might not have even noticed this but my father, being embarrassed, said, "It's for my dog." Lol, he said the clerk gave him this look of horror, so he went on to explain why in front of a line of people. I can just imagine being the person right behind him in line. Story 12. I work the drive-thru at McDonald's, and here are some orders that really make us judge you. It is extremely inconvenient when a group of friends comes into the drive-thru wanting to make multiple orders, especially if it's busy. It's basically like we're putting the whole place on hold to account for this stalled order, where 4 different people need to do 4 different debit transactions. Just come inside, or be good enough friends that one of you can just buy the McGrub and the others can get you back another time. Don't ask for a large water, because 9 out of 10 people that do that at my location come right back in and ask for a non-water refill. We're only allowed to give a McFlurry-sized cup of water, and it's a f***ing drag to have my manager bail me out, then you bail me out that I'm infringing on your rights or some bullshit for not giving you water. I can't give you the cup. We always judge you if you ask for fresh fries or a new pot of coffee. I understand that McDicks can be pretty shitty typically, but when you ask them that, you're basically saying that we don't do our job. When I work, I'm literally dropping a new basket of fries and a new pot of coffee every 5 minutes. Less than 5 minutes. Don't be that pretentious asshole that asks for no salt fries with salt on the side just to con me into making new fries. Come on. I guess this one isn't always horrible, but it definitely pisses me off. Now, this one might be a regional thing, but if you order a McGang expecting the cashier to know what it is, we all do, you're an asshole. Also, don't ask for swamp water in the drive-thru, like Sprite and Fruitopia. It's a machine. It's gonna make a drink no matter what, but it can't make that, so I'm throwing a drink out if you make me go over and custom pour your fancy beverage on the front counter. And once again, these are all things that just fuck with the flow of moving customers along, which at McDonald's is stressful as fuck. There are so many more, but please, just in general, be polite to your McDonald's service team and don't be a total idiot when you order. Just be nice to all employees in the service industry. It only shows what a horrible person you are if you get off on being shitty toward high school kids making minimum wage. Story 13. I worked at a bookstore over the holiday break. I tried really hard not to show any judgment on my face, but there were some odd things I got requests for. One girl, who looked no older than 19, was literally squealing when she found a signed bundle of the 50 Shades of Grey books. Another guy snuck into the store 2 minutes before we closed to buy a Playboy. While checking out, he tried flipping it over to hide it from the cashier as she rang him up. He kept diverting his eyes and made some weird comment about how awkward it was. Of all things, it was his behavior that weirded us out. A woman walks in with 4 or 5 children, presumably all hers, and asks me for books supporting anti-vaccination. When I typed in the keywords, I didn't see any books, so I just took her to the alternative medicine section, where she was overjoyed to find all kinds of books on natural remedies and avoiding modern medicine. I had a hard time not hiding my judgment on that one. Lastly, I silently judged every person who bought a Bill O'Reilly book. You're entitled to your own opinion, so I didn't treat them any differently, but I can say for sure I'm no fan of his. Story 14. I used to be a cashier at Walmart, and one evening this elderly couple came to my lane with a big cart of groceries. I was scanning along, making small talk with the woman, when all of a sudden the man grabbed something off the belt and shoved it into one of the candy boxes down the aisle. I didn't think anything of it, figured he had just changed his mind about his lotion or shampoo or whatever it was. The woman kind of chuckled, grabbed it off the shelf, and personally handed it to me. I glanced at it as I was scanning it, and it was KY jelly. No big deal. I'm mature. Old people like to have sex too. The guy turned red in the face, and she laughed at him, then turned to me and said, "He's embarrassed we're buying lube, but I keep telling him sometimes you just need it. Should he be embarrassed?" I felt so bad for this poor guy. Then, after they had paid without thinking about it, I said, "Have a good night." The woman laughed and said, "Oh, we will," and I'm pretty sure the man would have liked to melt into the floor. Story 15. I worked at McDonald's for a while. The only time I really judged a customer was when this family of 5, 2 obviously meth-head parents and 3 filthy young children, came in hoping to buy dinner for everyone for under $10. Yes, there is a dollar menu, but with tax there was just no way it could happen, especially since everybody loves the fries, which are not a dollar. Having to listen to the parents negotiate who would share what was pretty awkward, but I almost lost it when the dad said to his kids, "We're eating tonight, guys. Might not eat the rest of the week, but we gon' eat tonight." They could have gone to Walmart and bought the ingredients for a nutritious home-cooked meal and fed everyone for under $10, but instead were struggling to feed their kids fast food garbage. Why? I felt so sad when they left. Thank God for free school lunch. Story 16. Condoms? Nope, because I'm jealous. Tampons? If you're a dude? Nope, because good on you. Male enhancement pills? Nah, especially if you're the kind of guy that doesn't give a shit and makes light of it in the middle of a boring night. It's the combinations that get me though. Years ago, I was, painfully constipated, and I worked nights, so I do most of my shopping between 2 to 4 a.m. I went to the local CVS, bought 2 different types of enemas, the second to last resort, the last resort being a very humiliating hospital visit, 2 huge sugarless Gatorades, a pack of pens, nail polish, and face wash. Being 2:30 in the morning, it was just me and the probably bored cashier who I know was wondering what the hell was going on with me to be buying that particular combination of things. So you play it off and completely ignore that you're buying something that will shortly be shoved up your ass and hopes the cashier got a laugh. Story 17. Work behind the counter at a pharmacy. Had it all. Really young girls buying pregnancy tests, people buying diarrhea tablets and passing a comment about the extent of it, etc. But I think what made me the most uncomfortable was an old lady who came asking for thrush treatment. Up to this point, I wasn't judging until she asked for a pessary. I said sure and went to get one, but she continued. I look way younger than I am, so she probably thought I didn't know what it was. I get this a lot. "You know, a pessary, the long sticks that you put up your vagina? I need those. I need a pessary to put up my vagina to treat the thrush." Yes, lady, I know what a pessary is. No need to make me and all the other customers uncomfortable as we now have the mental image of you inserting the pessary. Story 18. Energy drinks. Now, I'm not just talking about one energy drink. No, I'm talking about the bros and the wannabe kid bros who buy 5 of them thinking it's going to make them hyper alert for their midnight shift wherever they work. Newsflash, you'll make yourself sick. Not just nausea, but heart palpitations, headache, anxiety, the whole 9 yards. And when you come down, you'll feel like you've been hit by a truck. Also, people buy copious amounts of lottery tickets. I'll admit, I play the lottery and I've been known to drop up to $20 in a single visit. It's not often I do that, but I have in the past. But if you come in, buy a ticket, scratch it, or pull it open, we have Nevada tickets which have pull tabs, and use the entire amount on more tickets, regardless of what that amount is. I've seen people spend their $60 winnings on more tickets. You might have a gambling problem. One memorable night, we had a lady come into the store with her daughter, and they spent the entire night trying to get the $1,000 prize out of our Nevada box. How much money did they spend to do this? Around $4,000. No joke. Story 19. I'm a glorified babysitter for the cashiers who from time to time manage their money and breaks. Sometimes I go onto a register to kill a line or to cover one of my cashier's breaks. There was this one time I was ringing up a man who only bought phallic-shaped produce and a box of condoms. I said nothing, but kinda came up with a million scenarios as to what he was using them for, other than cooking. Usually when women come up with oversized cucumbers, not the English cucumbers, regular 4062s, I kinda giggle to myself. I watch too much of my boyfriend's hentai. The only time I ever truly judge is when women buy $200 worth of groceries in their real fur coats, standing there not bagging a single item because they are too good for it. Then the same ladies pay with debit and food stamp cards. They are usually the reason for our long lines and also the ones complaining about the lines. There was also this one time, this bodybuilder of a man didn't bag a single item, paid and left, but the woman who was 7 months pregnant, alone, right before him, helped me bag all of her items.